once you begin to understand that God doesn't want anyone to perish, that He wants mercy, to give mercy to people and not judgment. That's His preference. Once you understand that, once you start looking at yourself as a trophy of grace, I am what I am by the grace of God. And once you start looking at lost people as potential future family members of yours, you'll begin to see evangelism as you should, with the right attitude. And this is important because honestly, and I'm speaking for myself as well, evangelism is probably one of the top 5 things that Jesus asks of us that causes us our intestines to just twist. We don't like it. What? Lord, you want me to talk to people about you, about going to church? They'll make fun of me. I don't know what to say. How many of you felt timid about the idea of starting a spiritual conversation with someone? Raise your hand if you've ever felt that way. Almost every hand should be up. There are those who are gifted with the gift of evangelism for whom that's not a problem at all. They just need a little duct tape. That's all they need. But most people, this is a hard thing. There's this great hymn that we like to sing. I don't know if you've sung it here. I love to tell the story. I love to tell the story. You know what? When most of us sing that, we're lying through our teeth. Because if we were to sing that song honestly, it ought to be titled, I kind of, sort of like to tell the story sometimes, right? But evangelism should be something, if the Lord gets our heart in the right place, where it's something we want to do, where it even becomes easy to start a spiritual conversation with someone. Anybody see Chris Pratt? You know who Chris Pratt is? Chris Pratt's like the primo actor right now. He's like the Star-Lord in the Marvel Avenger movies, and he's like in all the dinosaur movies. Everything the guy touches is gold. He received an award at from MTV a week or so ago, and he gave this acceptance speech. Anybody see it? Yes. It was amazing. He's a Christian, if you didn't know that. He's on our side. And he gave us a little mini speech of 9 points that he threw out there. And he talked about pooping as well, but that was weird. But he had a point about, he said to the young people, point number 6, you have to believe in God. And he had a point about prayer. And then his 9th point, he said, and you got to understand this, you're not, the world is telling you you're good just as you are. I'm telling you, you're not good just as you are. You need grace, he said. I was like, ugh. Chris Pratt didn't have any problem planting some seeds. So why do we? Now, if Chris Pratt, just pretend for a minute, if Chris Pratt were your best friend, would you have any trouble if he wanted to go to work with you one day or go to school with you one day? Would you have any trouble wanting to be seen with Chris Pratt? If your friend came up to you and said, oh, what was your name? Joey? Joe, is that Chris Pratt? And Joe goes, yeah, it's Chris Pratt. Yeah. Could you? How would Joe be? I want you to meet my best friend, Chris Pratt. Okay, why can't we do that with Jesus? Is Chris Pratt greater than Jesus? Did Chris Pratt die for you? Next time you're lonely or frustrated and needing help, you're going to cry out to Chris Pratt to be there for you? See, that's what evangelism ought to be like. It ought to be like inviting someone to meet your best friend. And not just your best friend, but the person who's the most powerful being in all the universe, who can bring forgiveness and healing and help. And he's there and he's real.